All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly fascinating. We're going to examine a chilling animated horror story set at St. Mary's Sacred Heart Church in Calcutta. But, we aren't just going to sit here and recount a spooky tale. No, instead, we're going to use this story as a masterclass in narrative design. We're going to break down exactly how creators construct tension, how they manipulate our expectations, and really, how they build an atmosphere of absolute terror from the ground up.
So it all begins with this one fundamental question, right? How do you build the perfect scare? I mean, it doesn't just happen by accident. It is a methodical, carefully engineered process. By dissecting the mechanics of horror escalation, using this specific Hindi animated story as our guide, we can actually uncover the blueprint of fear. We're going to look at the exact phases the creators use to take the audience from a state of total, blissful calm straight into one of absolute, unyielding panic.
Phase 1. Setting the chilling atmosphere. Okay, so every great horror story needs a baseline of normalcy, and ours begins in a quiet, highly disciplined nun training center in Kolkata. It's an environment completely defined by order, devotion, and strict rules. By establishing this sanctuary, a place where young women dedicate their lives to faith and service, the creators give us a setting that feels safe, completely controlled. But the disruption starts subtly with the arrival of a 22-year-old woman named Maria. Mother Agnes introduces her as God's special child. But what instantly signals to us that something is fundamentally wrong isn't a massive jump scare or a monster popping out. It's actually Maria herself. Her deep depression, her flat affect, and this totally unresponsive behavior, it acts as an immediate psychological red flag. The tension hasn't exploded yet, but that seed of unease, it's been perfectly planted.
Okay, let's dive into this timeline because it shows exactly how the pacing of dread really works. The horror masterfully shifts from these psychological whispers to real physical danger. So on day 1, Maria's roommate, Ruma, notices her standing in the back during prayers, muttering in this deeply disturbing, overlapping double voice. It's eerie for sure, but it's isolated. Then by day 2, the visual horror kicks in. Ruma peeks into Maria's room and finds her body unnaturally contorted, literally like a broken rubber doll. And then by day 3, the tension just entirely breaks as Maria launches a full-on animalistic physical attack on Mother Agnes. The escalation is rapid, it's terrifying, and it is perfectly structured.
Moving right along to Phase 2, escalating the demonic tension.
That timeline we just talked about, it plunges us directly into a violent, demonic escalation, where the threat is now deeply visual. The psychological unease is long gone, and the creators are yanking the audience out of the realm of the explainable right into pure nightmare territory. To understand how they achieve this, we just have to look at the terrifying visual design when Ruma peeks through that window. I mean, Maria's neck is twisted completely backwards. Her eyes have sunken into these pitch-black pits, and her teeth look as though someone shoved burning coal into her mouth. This kind of severe body horror bypasses our logical brain entirely and strikes right at our primal sense of dread. The human form is being corrupted and distorted, which, is a classic, highly effective tool in the horror toolkit.
And this visual corruption culminates in a shocking moment of sheer physical violence. When Mother Agnes approaches her with a cross, the cross doesn't do anything. It simply falls to the floor. Maria's pupils turn pitch black, her fingers crack and twist backwards, and literally like a wild animal, she pounces. She physically bites Mother Agnes's flesh. This act of visceral, raw violence completely shatters the peaceful sanctuary of the church. The safe zone is destroyed, and the stakes are instantly raised to life or death.
Now for Phase 3, the exorcism and escalation.
With the threat now fully realized, the church leadership attempts a counterattack. Now, in most narratives, this is where the heroes regain control, right? But in masterfully crafted horror, the attempt to fight back ironically only pushes the tension even higher. Let's look at how this builds through the exorcism ritual led by Father Edmund. The ritual is super structured. Step 1, they bind Maria to a chair. Step 2, they surround her with crosses and lit candles. Step 3, they begin reciting mantras while sprinkling holy water. Outlining this highly structured ritual gives us, the audience, a totally false sense of control. It kind of feels like there's a manual to fix the problem. But the creators build this neat, orderly box just so they can spectacularly blow it up right in front of us when absolute chaos erupts.
What's really fascinating here is the sensory detail of the demonic manifestation that follows. The ritual doesn't cure Maria. Actually, it provokes the entity. Suddenly, all the candles extinguish at exactly the same time. The earth literally begins to crack between Father Edmund and Maria, and most importantly, overlapping voices emerge from Maria. But it's not just your standard demonic growl. It's the distinct sound of a crying baby mixed with an angry male voice. These specific auditory cues aren't just there for shock value. They are brilliantly and subtly foreshadowing the impending twist.
Which brings us to Phase 4, a dark, unexpected twist.
This is the moment the entire foundation of the story shifts. The tension drops to this hushed, shocked whisper as we move from a battle of supernatural horror to a revelation of deep, twisted human evil. The crucial truth is revealed not by Maria, but by Mother Agnes, whose eyes suddenly turn black as the demonic entity uses her to confess. We see this stark, horrifying contrast between Father Neil's public persona, saintly, highly respected, completely dedicated to the church, and his actual horrifying reality. It turns out Neil and Maria had a secret relationship. When she got pregnant and refused to hide it, Neil and Mother Agnes conspired with a nurse. They forced a premature delivery, lied to Maria telling her the baby was dead, and, in just an act of unforgivable cruelty, they buried the infant alive in the graveyard, all just to protect Neil's reputation.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the mechanics of the plot seamlessly intertwine deep grief, ultimate betrayal, and supernatural consequences. Neil and Agnes's horrific action directly invited the demonic revenge. Meanwhile, a broken, grieving Maria, spending her midnights weeping out at the graveyard, inadvertently opened herself up to possession. The spirits that took over her body weren't just some random demons. They were led by the vengeful soul of her own murdered child. The horror is no longer just scary, is it? It is deeply tragic and, honestly, profoundly justified.
And finally, Phase 5, the fiery, vengeful climax.
The secrets are out. The sins are laid bare. Now, the story demands a payoff. The energy completely shifts from that shocking revelation into an explosive, unstoppable sequence where the vengeful spirits take total and absolute control of the church. Right as the chaos peaks, Maria looks up and delivers this chilling line: "One father, one punishment." And she delivers this precisely as she violently twists and breaks her own arm backwards. It is just a terrifying display of power, signaling to everyone in that room that the time for prayers is definitively over. Ultimate supernatural judgment has arrived, and there is no stopping it.
The visual crescendo of this climax is just phenomenal. Father Neil and Mother Agnes are violently levitated high into the air, totally helpless. The candles that were blown out earlier suddenly spark back to life, fly through the air, and set the two corrupt leaders ablaze. They are engulfed in absolutely unstoppable flames. This supernatural fire serves as a direct physical manifestation of long overdue retribution. The very institution that tried to burn away its sins in secret is now burning out in the open for everyone to see.
Maria survives, though she's forever traumatized, while Neil and Agnes perish in the flames of their own making. As we wrap up our analysis of this masterful escalation of terror, I really want to leave you with this final lingering thought. By the time the credits roll, who was the true monster of the story? Was it the demonic spirit seeking violent revenge? Or was it the deeply corrupt, supposedly holy leaders